Welcome back to Good Morning Vail. We are now joined on the couch by Ryan from 10th Mountain Whiskey and the founders of AvyDog, a new whiskey product for us. Would you guys introduce yourselves for us?
My name is Chris Mongo Reeder, and I'm the director of Vail Ski Patrol and a co-founder of AvyDog.
My name is Mike Kang. I'm also a co-founder of AvyDog and a longtime friend of Chris's and Ryan's.
Great.
So tell us a little bit about the history behind the AvyDog brand and kind of what you guys are doing with this new product.
Sure. On Ski Patrol, we're always kind of looking for new ways to fundraise and benefit our local community and ways to give back. And that's kind of the foundation of where AvyDog came from. Pairing our AvyDog program and the success with those dogs and the popularity of those dogs into efforts to be able to support that. It turns into T-shirt sales and hat sales and exposure through different media outlets and appearances and things like that. The actual AvyDog brand of bourbon was originally thought up as a wine brand and a partnership with a vineyard, and they did a run of what was wine, and we were able to raise a bunch of money, so that kind of got the wheels turning. And we're not really wine guys, so at the time we decided that maybe along the lines of someday another opportunity might come around with something that we're a little bit more aligned with, like a bourbon.
Well, and how did 10th Mountain Whiskey get involved?
You know, through the process of trying to find a partner in the bourbon industry, we were overlooking the obvious, I would say, for a little while. And during COVID, it was a tough struggle to try to find suppliers of bourbon. It's in high demand, and especially during COVID, it was pretty hard to come by. And so I think that we were guilty of looking beyond what was now obvious. Once we started to look locally and we were put in touch with Ryan from a friend, it seemed like a perfect relationship, and it kind of grew from there.
Well, and 10th Mountain Whiskey's got quite a history of working with nonprofits throughout the valley, especially in the first responder and veteran space. Yeah. And so to mention, it's a natural partnership for you guys.
Yeah, it's a natural partnership in a number of ways. Vail Mountain being founded by a 10th Mountain vet, Henry being the first Avy rescue dog on Vail Mountain, being a service dog himself. When Mongo and Kanger came to me and told me about the project they were thinking about doing and pursuing, it was an immediate yes. I was excited about it. It checked all the right boxes for us, and so not only is it a fun brand and a fun reason to start doing some business with these guys, but also their philanthropic efforts as well that they're focused on really resonates with us too. So.
And is there a particular program right now that the proceeds from this run of whiskey is going towards?
Do you want to name off a few?
Kanger, why don't you?
Sure.
Yeah.
Right now we're benefiting Vail Avalanche Rescue Dogs, obviously, and then CRAD, which is Colorado Rapid Avalanche Deployment, and that's when they fly the dogs around to Avy zones in helicopters. And then the national foundation that we've identified is Canines for Warriors, and that's when they rescue or rescue dogs from high-kill rescue shelters. I believe 80% of the dogs are from high-kill rescue shelters, and then they donate them to vets that are affected by PTSD, traumatic brain injuries. So they're essentially trying to save 2 lives. So.
Fantastic. So with these 2 particular bottles here, there's a little bit of a difference. And why don't you guys tell us something about the specific whiskeys in here?
For sure. Well, kind of the unique thing about these bottles of whiskey is this was the first bottle of whiskey, I believe, that was actually a barrel selection by a dog. Henry himself, he's not with us anymore, but last summer we went for a barrel selection process at 10th Mountain, and Henry was with us, and we narrowed the selection down to 2 barrels, And then we set the 2 barrels out and had a bowl of whiskey in front of each of them. And I kind of taught Henry what the game was going to be. And then we did a best 2 out of 3. And Henry actually selected the first barrel of whiskey to go into the AvyDog bottle. And so that's kind of a unique story between the two. So there's 2 different versions. There's one that's straight out of the barrel, and that is the Barrel Select at 115 proof that's bottled at right now. And then there's also an 80 proof version of the same thing.
Well, fantastic. And so with the 80 proof version and the higher proof, you guys have one of them aged a little bit longer than the other one?
No,
Nope.
no, they're both aged 2 years in the barrel.
Fantastic. What gives this one the darker color here?
It's a, well, do you want to answer?
Yeah, sure.
I saw the smile on your face.
The darker color, it's a great question, right? And then it's a lot of something that people notice straight off the bat. And so the darker color is 115 proof, and then we use a reverse osmosis water to proof down the same exact whiskey, but down to 80 proof, so it might be a little more approachable to some novice whiskey drinkers that still want to partake and be part of the brand and enjoy our whiskey, but maybe don't gravitate towards the higher proof 115. So that's the difference in the color and the darkness. It's,
Plus, you can enjoy it for a little bit longer.
can
that
enjoy
way,
it a
too.
little bit longer as well, yes.
So I've been down to your facility there in Gypsum, and it's absolutely gorgeous. You want to tell us a little bit about your process and how you guys are developing these whiskeys? And
Well, first of all,
various
thank you. I
products?
appreciate that. And so our distillery is in Gypsum. It's a 7,000 square foot facility. We have a tasting room there. It's open 6 days a week. We use a 500-gallon batch system. So all the whiskey that comes out of our location is a 500-gallon batch system. We have a 500-gallon combination pot column still. And we do everything by hand there, from the whole cooking, fermentation, distillation process to bottling and labeling. These guys have come down and helped us do some bottling and labeling on the AvyDog brand. And so we're open to tours 6 days a week, and open to the public to come join us and hang out and check out our process. So.
Fantastic. And so let's go back to the AvyDogs a little bit. I know that Vail Mountain has definitely really been kind of promoting their AvyDog program a lot more in recent years. And with Henry being the original AvyDog, tell us a little bit about Henry.
Well, Henry was our first. We already said that. That was how we developed the program, and I pitched it originally with Henry, and it was accepted. And so it was a fun process of figuring it out as we went. You know, there was a lot of background and legwork that I did beforehand, going to different dog seminars and things like that, and tapping into as many training resources as I could find. But then actually figuring out the program is kind of more of a boots on the ground, and figuring out what parts of the program cater best to whatever your operation is. And at Vail, a lot of our operation, it's unfortunate that AvyDogs don't have a higher success rate when you're looking for something, when you're looking for someone that's in need of that kind of assistance. You know, it's a much more useful tool to be able to use our AvyDogs on the front end educationally, and we use them a lot in that purpose. So the AvyDogs create an approachability with patrol and a connection that, especially with our local schools and stuff, allows us to be able to get in front of these kids and have that audience and have a little bit better engagement with them. And to be honest, that is the most beneficial side of having our Avalanche Rescue Dog program, is the educational side. Anybody that is going into the backcountry to participate with a plan, with their plan being that we have Avalanche Rescue Dogs available up top if something happens, that's not a good plan going into the backcountry. Just a simple side effect of the geography of where accidents happen, and the reality that live finds in avalanche terrain happen within 15 minutes. And that window is your partner. It's not a phone call to a professional rescue agency that goes through a number of dispatchers and then a helicopter is sent to pick up the resource and flown out there. That's unfortunately not a successful plan most of the time.
And sometimes it can take 15 minutes just to get your ski boots on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of the foundation of our Avalanche Rescue Dog program, and kind of how it's transitioned over the years. And we're at 6 dogs now. We have 2 new pups, and there's another one on the way. And so it's an ongoing evolution.
Fantastic. And I mean, I'm sure you know better than I, but I would imagine that on Vail Mountain, burials aren't a terribly huge concern. I mean, I know people get tree welled occasionally, but inbound slides hardly ever happen in terrain where people are. So I would imagine you guys get a lot more work with the dogs, partnering with CRAD.
Absolutely. And that brings up a common misconception too, is that that there is some sort of ski patrol presence in the backcountry. When you're skiing at a resort, for Vail, at Vail, for example, we have 120 ski patrollers that are all working full-time to mitigate those avalanche risks within the ski area boundary. As soon as you go under that road, through one of those backcountry access gates and leave the ski area, then you get none of that, and you're completely reliant on having done your homework and understanding what the snowpack looks like, and training with the gear in case things go wrong, and having that right partner with you too.
Because once you guys get out of the gates of the resort, right, you're now in the territory for the sheriff's department and mountain rescue, and those guys have to stage and come out to get you, and that just takes longer.
Exactly, and that is part of the partnership that we have with the Summit County and Eagle County search and rescue groups, that we're available as a resource for them. But you're right, that takes time.
So if people are interested in picking up some AvyDog whiskey and helping to support you guys, do you guys have any events coming up, or where can they purchase it?
They're for sale at both of our tasting rooms, at our distillery in Gypsum, and then at our tasting room on Bridge Street. Right when you cross the covered bridge, the first shop on the right. So they're available there retail-wise. So.
And just quick aside, easily the prettiest bar in the valley.
Thank you, my man. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I love that,
nice.
like wood coloring and everything. It's
Thank you.
fantastic.
And the location overlooking Gore Creek right there, it's absolutely terrific. Yeah.
And you'll often catch some ski patrol hanging out there enjoying a glass after they get done with the work day. So
Occasionally.
Well, fantastic, guys. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing all of this fantastic information about the AvyDog program and the new whiskey fundraiser. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Appreciate it.
And thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be right back after a short break.